Monk has been done justice in Baldur's Gate 3. It's easily one of the best classes in the game, no discussion possible. In contrary to its tabletop version, this class is an absolute nuclear unit at any stage of the game. I would argue, however, to really make Monk shine to its maximum, you want to multi-class it post level 6. Some popular options include 8 Monk, 4 Rogue, 2 Fighter, 6 Monk, 4 Rogue, 2 Fighter, 7 Monk, 3 Rogue, but I don't like any of those. Going Fighter for this build because it pretty much sacrifices your unarmored movement possibilities, and you don't need Action Surge since your bonus actions on a Monk are in particular very good. You also don't need 3 feats from having 3 times 4 levels in different classes, as Tavern Brawler is just overpowered. So the 4 Rogue is not necessary in my opinion. 9 Monk however gives you AoE options, and 3 Rogue gives you extra bonus actions every turn, which makes 9 Monk, 3 Rogue just the best. It gives you everything you need, and in this video you'll see why it's exactly so good. Now I made my Get Overpowered Early video for Monk, going over level 1 to 6 and pretty much everything you need to know about this class and archetype from the very core. This video is going to be a mid to late game continuation of that video, and here we're going to really specialize in this class and make Monk as strong as humanly possible. All the fundamentals, basics, party composition and such is discussed in part 1, so definitely check that video out as well to understand this class and playstyle and to not get confused by anything said in this video. Now I said 9 Monk, 3 Rogue is the best, and it really is. For your first 6 levels, you will always want to just bump them in Monk like shown in part 1. You really don't have to worry about multi-classing pre-level 6 because every Monk level is going to be essentially a banger. Then I would suggest after those 6 levels to just continue leveling Monk till level 8. At level 7 Monk you get some nice utility based abilities that help you out with your sustain, and now you will also have a way to not get frightened as well as charmed, which are quite annoying CC, so you get actually really good features here. At level 8 you get to choose another feat, and here we're going to go with ability improvement and put those 2 points into wisdom. As you know, Monks benefit from high wisdom as it adds your wisdom modifier to your damage output, especially with the setup that we'll be going over in this video. Then at level 9 we're going to respect and just straight up get 6 Monk and 3 Rogue. Reason why we don't invest points in Rogue at level 7 and 8 is because it's just dead weight. We specifically want 3 levels in Rogue in one go. So respecting at level 9 is the way to go in my opinion. Then we get Thief as our subclass to unlock Fast Hands. Now Fast Hands is in itself already worth getting 3 points in Rogue. This thing's absolutely amazing. As you know, Monks have really good attacks in the form of their bonus actions. Flurry of Blows is an attack that hits twice for a bonus action, and that in itself can already deal crazy amounts of damage or just straight up one-shot enemies. So getting an additional bonus action every single turn is really a no-brainer in my opinion. Then after level 9 you just continue and get the remainder of your points in Monk again. At level 9 Monk or level 12 overall, you now also get the possibility to use Key Resonation. We already have amazing single target damage, amazing movement, amazing presence, but we lack AoE as our Monk. And Key Resonation provides exactly that and makes everything complete. Every piece falls right where it belongs because we now have the possibility to deal decent AoE damage when enemies are grouped together, giving us an additional possibility from a strategic point of view, making our Monk complete, and it does pack a punch. Key Resonation is just nice. I don't see why you would ever skip it. I've seen multi-class builds out there where they just don't take the level 9 Monk. And the first question that then comes to mind is, what kind of intoxication were they indulging in when they made that decision? Aside from it being good as well, it's also just damn fun to blow things up. In combat, your Monk is going to be an absolute menace. Everything I showed in part 1 is now essentially doubled in part 2. Our Monk is going to deal so much damage, the footage speaks for itself, and it should just be illegal. Larian Studios, what have you done? You have created the possibility to create something so dangerous that if you play as a Monk for too many hours, your PC or console will just explode. Yes, those are the facts, because look at this damage output. I'm dealing hundreds of damage within a single turn, and the fact that you can literally punch like 10 times every turn is just too good for this world. If there are still any Monk haters out there, tell me in the comments why and change my mind. No, you can't. This is peak performance, and yeah, it's just really good. But to really optimize our Monk, we also need to talk about gear. From a leveling perspective, we are done, but there's a lot of gear in the game that is going to make us really powerful as well, and actually has great synergy with a Monk. Seems to have been created specifically for a Monk. And let's start off with this best in slot list in my opinion. Starting off with the headpiece, we're going to go with the Horns of Berserker for that juicy extra necrotic damage right here, and since we're always going to be attacking, we will rarely suffer from the penalty. For Cloak, we're going to go with some AC to give us some sustain. So Cloak of Protection it is. For the chest piece, we're going to go with the Vest of Soul Rejuvenation for that +2 AC and attack on enemy melee miss. This effect is really good. It can just straight up mean killing your enemy one turn earlier. For our hands, we're going to go with the Gloves of Soul Catching. No brainer really. This thing is an absolute monster for a monk. Our unarmed attacks are now going to deal 1d10 force damage in addition, and then we get more HP as well, and you get to choose either to heal yourself or get advantage on your next attack. These gloves are absolutely insane. There's so much utility found in them. Get them. For our boots, we're going to go with the Boots of Uninhibited Kushigo, another iconic monk, which is going to add our Wisdom modifier to our unarmed attacks. And as you know, we invested a bunch of points in Wisdom, so this piece is actually really good for us. For the amulet, we're going to go with Khaled's Gift. Gives us some more Wisdom, but more importantly has a nice ability that heals us and increases our hit point maximum by 10 hit points when we want to do so. Really good. Regarding rings, for the first ring, we're going to go with the Ring of Protection to give us some sustain in the form of extra armor class and a +1 to our saving throws. For the other ring, honestly, I'm just going to keep the Crusher's Ring that we picked up early in part 1 because that extra movement is just nice. But alternatively, if you want something more offensively, I would strongly suggest you to take the Careless Glow Ring and substitute either of these rings for it. For our ranged option, we're going to go with the Dark Fire Short Bow for the resistances to damage, as well as give us the opportunity to cast Haste once per long rest, and Haste is OP as you may or may not know, as it means we'll have another action for 10 turns if we can maintain it, and another action is more damage. With that, we have our gear complete, and if you manage to get all of this stuff, it's going to make you an absolute monster. In terms of abilities, this is what I'm going to recommend then. I respect once again in comparison to part 1, and yes, I dumped strength completely, made wisdom our main stat and gave it 17, and because we also used Auntie Ethel's hair in part 1 to give us wisdom, that means we will now have 18 wisdom. From our ability improvement, we then also will get 20 wisdom because we got those 2 points in wisdom, and then we can also use the Mirror of Laws to get 22 wisdom. Now dexterity is going to be our second stat at 16, giving us high initiative and armor class, and we get constitution at 15, and ultimately it will end up at 18 because we will use the Tavern Brawler feat to give it +1, and we get +2 from our gloves. We then dump charisma, intelligence, and strength. Reason why we dump strength is because we're going to keep using the strat that I proposed in part 1, but now enhance it with the late game version. Yes, we will be chugging those elixirs because we get the possibility to obtain the Elixir of Cloud Giant Strength, and these things are absolutely amazing. They're just too good to ignore, as they set your strength at a whopping 27, and they're pretty cheap, and you can get them infinitely essentially. Just make sure you go to any of these traders shown on screen, and they usually will have one or more and will restock when you long rest. Now keep in mind, one of these elixirs lasts you all the way till your next long rest, so you're going to benefit from having 27 strength for a long time. 27 strength is really crazy because one, Tavern Brawler makes extremely good use of your strength modifier, adds it twice to your unarmed attacks, and 27 strength gives you a really high, relatively speaking, strength modifier. So win-win situation. Summarizing everything together, you will have 27 strength, 22 wisdom, 16 dexterity, 18 constitution, meaning we have high stats in literally every single relevant stats. You'll have a great multi-class build that facilitates the idea of the build very well, gives you a ton of power, and extends the number of actions and more importantly bonus actions that you have every turn. And you have great gear that synergizes very well with the idea of the build, granting you even more damage but also giving you great amounts of armor class. As you can see here, it's an entire list, and we have high armor class and sustain to make sure you don't die anytime soon. You're going to dominate every single battlefield going forward. You guys asked for it for a good time now for this video, and I had to really make sure we get the absolute best. The only thing I'm going to ask for you in return is to make sure to give the video a like, subscribe, that's very important, and most importantly, enjoy your time in Baldur's Gate 3 with this beautiful monk multi-class.